Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back. I hope everyone had a lovely weekend, 3-day weekend. I hope everyone is having a lovely day back at work. If you're not, hopefully this will be a nice brief break period during your morning. However, maybe it's not and you have to watch it later. No big deal. This newsletter drops today at noon over on LinkedIn. Go there and subscribe to it so you get the newsletter through every day to your inbox. Until then, you just have to go over there and see it. It's on my personal LinkedIn, the daily copy. Um, so today we're going to go over everything that's in the newsletter this week or today. It's a daily newsletter. It's not a weekly newsletter. We're going to go over it today. What's in it today, and we'll talk about those things and expand on them a little bit. Some super cool stuff. So we're going to go over retail today. We're going to go over the gig economy, which is one of my favorite things in the universe, and we're going to go over some information technology stuff, which is super interesting too. So all of these things I'm kind of pulling from all over the world, all over the news, compiling them into it's stuff I find interesting too. So I'm sorry if you don't find it interesting. This is the only way I could probably stomach putting together a daily newsletter. It's the stuff I find interesting, the stuff I love to think about and talk about, and hopefully we can kind of grow a bigger, broader view of how we need to be positioning ourselves and our companies in the future. Okay, so if anything is good, so we'll start with retail. If anything is a good indicator of the economy, it's retail. We can always look at what products are being shipped and what aren't, but I think a better indicator is see what these big companies are doing, these monster companies, because they have all the data. They have all the data. They've got the coders with the API connections on staff, and they're pulling all the data and they're seeing what's working, what's not working, where they need to save, and where they need to spend. So if you look at those big monster retail companies, I'm talking Target, I'm talking Walmart, and seeing what they're thinking about, you can see where the tide is turning. Another super interesting thing, and it's kind of this is true about all of time, is these monster companies aren't always right. But what they do is gather the data and try to make informed decisions based on data. Blockbuster is a great example of that, and how if you don't know that how Blockbuster ended at the age of streaming, at the age of streaming growing, or the boom of the streaming industry, the video streaming industry, and how Blockbuster died because they didn't take that on board because they knew about it. They knew about it and they chose not to move in that direction. So it's cool to see the data that they're coming up with, the things that they're talking about, but maybe not their execution because they're so big and they have a lot of darlings that sometimes they do not want to kill. But some super interesting things. Uh, some recent going on. So fancy fizzy beer, boozy beer is down, and cheap beer is up. There you go. In an inflation economy, no one wants to buy. No one wants to be drinking fizzy fancy beer. They want to be drinking beer still, but they don't want to be drinking fizzy fancy beer. They're gonna drink cheap, cheap beer. That's the natty ice. You pick up some natty ice, some Budweiser, because you're gonna have to drink beer anyway. That's how economies grow, is men drinking beer. Interestingly, there's a great book called In Search of God and Guinness, and at the beginning of that book, it goes through kind of the history of beer. One of the big reasons the Pilgrims stopped in America, you can thank my people for that, is because they ran out of beer and they had to brew some more. So there you go. Another indicator from the retail industry, people don't have essentials and are getting GoFundMe's to pay for it. Those two things are linked. If you don't have a lot of money because of inflation, you're not going to buy fancy beer. And if you don't have a lot of money, you can't buy essentials. So you start GoFundMe's to pay for it. Links to those types of articles are in the newsletter. You can go see them. And buy now, pay later is just a Wild West. Is a Wild West. Buy now, pay later transactions in the US will reach 75.6 billion in 2022. That's a 77.3% year over year increase, according to Insider Intelligence. Gen Z are more likely than any other group to do this. They haven't been watching Dave Ramsey. They don't know about payments and how bad that is, I guess. That's a funny little aside. Or they're trying to leverage these payments. because it's all about cash flow. It's all about personal cash flow when it comes to this. Although businesses are utilizing this. If you're a business and you have to buy some certain retail products, sometimes we have to do this at the juice bar sometimes, and you're buying retail products, sometimes you have to buy those retail products and a buy now, pay later scheme so you can spread it over for cash flow reasons. So you could spread it over a period of time. Businesses are doing that too. So it's not all just individuals. But buy now, pay later is also facing challenges. Klarna, the big Swedish company specializing in this, saw its valuation drop from 6.7 billion down 85%. 85% from, sorry, saw its valuation drop to 6.7 billion in July, down 85% from 46 billion the year previous. That is nuts. That's because everyone had free money at that time and they were using these. However, marketplaces are up. So retail is down, struggling because no one has any money. Marketplaces are up, though. At least Etsy is up. We're seeing marketplaces outperform expectation because brands are looking for alternatives to paid media. Everyone is trying to save money on advertisement. Interestingly, I think every company right now is looking to cut expenses rather than grow because they know the top line, it's going to be hard to do that. So they're looking to cut expenses. Paid media is one of those expenses that they just think, get that out of here, especially if no one is guaranteeing ROI on that. So they're going to throw that out. So they're trying to figure out other ways, at least to try and get some growth, maybe a 1 or 2% growth year over year, rather than the 7 to 10, 20% growth that a lot of companies were experiencing. So marketplaces are a way to do that. There's already communities in marketplaces. So marketplaces like Etsy and things like that. There's already people there. So marketplace is a low risk way to reach new audiences and drive up brand impressions. Things like and leveraging places like Pinterest where those crowds are. Okay, moving on to the gig economy. Are you considering a startup? These are some tips and tricks straight out the newsletter. Everyone wants to own their own business. Everyone says that they're a business owner if they're running DoorDash on the side and they've got a little graphic design company. The hustle's hustle. Everyone loves it. Everybody loves it. I'll just go through these quickly. These are from Joe Karasin, who's a super cool entrepreneur who helps other entrepreneurs. If you want to start a business, expect these things. You might have to work long hours. You probably may already be doing that anyway, so that might not be anything new. You'll have responsibilities outside of your role. You probably may already have that too, with all the layoffs you may have been adopting, or you may have been laid off. Sorry if that's you. You have less job security. You're on the chopping block. You won't get any benefits probably, or less benefits. Teams are tight knit, and there's more visibility. If you're not pulling your load. If you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, everyone's going to know it. But the payoff's bigger. Huge risk. Huge risk. Payoff's bigger though. There it is. Take the risk, fail, have nothing, have to do it again, or go get a job, and then you're behind. Your 401k is behind. Take the risk, succeed, and you didn't need a 401k in the first place. Okay, information technology. Let's move on to that. What we got? Here we go. In a recent survey found that many corporate execs anticipating recession are inevitably trying to budget slash their way through it. I kind of mentioned that. That's why no one has any money. See investments in investments in technology. Okay, yeah, perfect. Sorry, I can't read straight. So big companies are trying to slash their way through this recession or in fear of it. So CEOs and CFOs are saying the last thing we're going to cut is research in AI and information technology. That's the last thing that's going to go. We'll get rid of people before we get rid of the robots, is what they're saying. We'll get rid of people before they get rid of the robots. 41% would cut managers and acquisitions first, followed by sustainability, workforce training, and talent development. That's going to be huge. We work a lot in this sector with Clean Train U, our training platform inside the commercial cleaning industry. That's the talent that you have. If you're not developing them, where you're at a loss because you're going to lose them. workforce training and development, physical network expansion and product innovation, improvements in technology and improved efficiency and scalability, which is the whole point of technology and AI and automation, was dead last overall, and things that would be cut was dead last overall, with just 23% of respondents identifying it as a top area for belt tightening. 23. So 80% of people say that's the last thing that's going to go, because we're losing people. People are too expensive. Technology is not. We need to make the people that we have more efficient. Around 45% of execs identified this category as the last place they would make cuts. The last place. Implementing digital in a way that boosts the productivity of workers, assets, and working capital will be a necessity going forward. The VP of Research, Randeep of Gartner, the VP of Research at Gartner, told ZDNet, which is, I think I linked to that in the article that will drop today. He added that prioritization of cuts to sustainability was more of a surprise given how many companies claimed environmental concerns. There you go. All these big companies said we're concerned about the environment. When things got tight, the first thing they cut was things that were going to help the environment. That's why I talked about this yesterday. So no one trusts big things anymore, because they lie. Quick stat: 2.8 billion. That's the price paid by a software investment firm, Thoma Bravo, to acquire digital security company Ping. That's cool. That's a lot of money too. Researchers were able to revive. Here we go. I think I talked about this too, and there's a link to this in the article. Yep, this is a absolute sci-fi nightmare. Researchers were able to revive the organs of dead pigs using a chemical solution called OrganX. The only thing we can. That's crazy. It's crazy. Look at that link in the article that will drop today at noon. Go see it. But it turns out that we can revive things. Next thing would be people. There you go. That's where your new workforce is going to come from. You'll get AI to revive dead people through OrganX, and that's where your workforce will come from. There's your story. There's your sci-fi novel. You take it for free. I'll take a bit. Okay. Thanks for watching. Please, guys, go check out everything that we have going on. If you find this useful, if you have any questions, if you want to make some comments, I'll try and respond to them in the comments on the different platforms. Lovely talking to you guys. Have a lovely week. Happy first day of the work week. Hope everyone had a good weekend.